good morning, everyone.
Welcome to today's episode of Green Driving and Thriving. Today is September 24th, 2024, and today we're going to talk about the behind-the-wheel driving exam and the DMV.
Alrighty, and I'm Mike.
I'm Eric. Thank you for being here today. We appreciate your viewing.
Alrighty, so let's get right into the subject.
Yeah, so, we get a lot of questions about this. It's a very common theme, obviously. And so, Mike, I'm going to ask you a series of questions here and see if you can kind of help us out with some basic information. When it comes to taking the behind-the-wheel exam, which DMV should I select?
Okay, so first of all, there's in the Bay Area, there's a ton of DMVs.
Yes.
So when you go to make the appointment on the website, you're going to click the appointment thing, and it's going to ask you like 5 DMVs. And, naturally, you're going to say, which one's the closest one to me?
Right.
I want to save some time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I don't want to have to drive out to San Ramon,
Yeah.
or wherever the DMV that, that they offer to you. So you're going to click, say we live in Cache Valley, the closest one to us would be the Hayward one.
Right.
That would be a mistake.
That would be a mistake.
Yeah, so what we recommend is either of the 2 Pleasanton DMVs.
Yep.
There's one inside the Stone Ridge Mall, and there's one on Las Positas Boulevard.
That's right.
And if I had to choose, I would take the Las Positas Boulevard because it's a standalone DMV. It's not in the mall. You don't have to walk around the whole mall to get into it. And also, they're very, very good there.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a side note, when it comes to DMVs, it changes. So when personnel changes or circumstance changes, there's construction in an area. We keep a tab on that at Go Green in terms of what is the best DMV currently, and it may change in a couple months. But right now, I would definitely agree. The 2 Pleasanton DMVs are fantastic, and then my secret favorite DMV currently is the Tracy DMV, which is a little bit further out, but you get great customer service there, and it's not quite as busy.
Yeah, it's and the driving test out there, as Tracy is a grid town.
Right.
It's
Right.
just squares and blocks.
Pretty simple.
Yeah,
Pretty simple.
yeah. There's not a lot to trick you up over there.
Yep. Okay, so that's in terms of where to go. What about days and times? Are there better days and times to go?
Absolutely. There's different times that they offer, and if you have a constrained schedule, it's very important to try to make something that works with your schedule. You don't want to be rushing.
Right.
I booked it for 4 o'clock,
Right.
and we get out at 3:40,
Right.
and I have to get there. No. So the times that I would say are the absolute best would be a Monday-ish morning.
Okay.
Any of those 3 days in the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, morning to early afternoon.
Yep.
1, after the lunchtime.
Yeah.
If you start doing those 11 o'clocks, then you might get caught where you're at a point, it's lunch rush, and the instructor or the test proctor at the DMV is going to leave on their lunch.
Right.
So then you're first in line, ready to go. The car just took off in front of you. They come back. The instructor walks in right into the DMV, and you're there for 40 minutes, and the anxiety's building and all that. There are some certain days that I would absolutely avoid.
Okay.
And that would be, number 1, Friday.
Yes.
Friday is a miserable day.
Miserable.
Yeah. Miserable day to...
Yeah.
All the DMV employees, God, God help them.
God bless them.
Yeah,
it's a tough job.
because that's a difficult job, but they are on their last thread.
Right.
Because they know they have relief coming of the weekend.
Yes.
And if you can't avoid Friday, please avoid the afternoon.
Yes.
That is the absolute worst. I've had cases where the testers are looking for a minute crack or a little piece of the rubber on a car, tire gone, to get out of that, because they're going to be overloaded with tests. They're going to be, backed up. It's going to be 4:30, and they're looking at the line of 10 more cars, and it closes at 5.
Right.
And so they have to get them done because they're on the books. So,
yeah. That's wise. Very wise. Now let me ask you this: if I have an exam at, say, 10:20 a.m., should I expect my exam to start right at 10:20 a.m.?
Oh, absolutely not.
That was a joke.
No. what I always recommend is you get there at least 20 minutes early.
Okay.
Yeah, at least, because there's a line before the line. So you would have to get there early and check in before you go and get into the drive test line.
Okay.
I know sometimes you can see on the building it says drive test.
Yes.
And some people think you can just drive in there like, oh, I scheduled online. They should know I'm coming.
Right.
No, they have to verify
that you're actually there.
Yeah, that you're actually there, that you have your permit, and all your information, which we're going to go in a little bit later.
Yes.
But they need to make sure that, and then also after you're checked in, you're checked in, you're guaranteed to take your test.
Yes.
Hoping that your car passes their inspection.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
But you're guaranteed to take that test, or the opportunity
at some point.
At some point. Not guaranteed for your time slot.
Absolutely not. So the reason I bring that point up is, as you said earlier, in terms of scheduling, you don't want to rush to try to be at the schedule time, but at the same time, don't schedule anything afterwards. You may be there, hopefully not, but be there 2+ hours. Is that realistic?
Absolutely. We've had cases where almost 5 hours.
Yeah,
we've spent,
extreme, but it's happened.
Yeah, it's happened more than once.
And the last thing you're going to want to do is, having waited an hour, 2 hours, and then you have an appointment that you thought would impossible, but here you are needing to make that appointment, and then you have to leave the line or miss that other appointment, one of the two, and that's not going to be a good situation either.
Absolutely. That's one of those things where you cannot plan on the DMV to be punctual.
Correct.
Yeah. That's just one of those things. Test proctor could have called out sick,
right?
And it's one guy,
one person,
or one lady doing 40 tests,
right?
that day.
Yeah.
So
be ready.
Yeah.
Patience level turned way up, right?
Yeah. And honestly, the best I can say is, when you're in those waiting situations, take deep breaths.
Yes.
Because the anxiety starts to build.
Yeah. So parents, right? Pro tip: make sure that you're keeping your student calm. Play some of their favorite music. Don't talk about stressful things, about upcoming tests, homework, all that stuff. Try to keep the anxiety level very low. That wait time, when it gets to be long, man, can be crippling. I've seen people just really spin out during that time.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I've done as an instructor is I've talked to the student about what's something fun that you're going to do after the test.
Yes.
Pass or fail.
Yes.
Just plan for a trip to In-N-Out.
Absolutely.
Plan for an ice cream, going to Cold Stone or somewhere like that, regardless.
Yeah, get your mindset right.
Yeah, just because then you can think, okay, after this I'm going to, what sprinkles am I going to get on it?
Right.
Or, something
just like distraction.
Yeah, just a distraction.
Yeah.
Just to take your mind off of, I remember, everyone remembers when they were a little kid and they know they're going to get their flu shot or something like that, and you're sitting there just thinking, oh no, the needle's coming. Right. That's pretty much what they're going through on the test. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, very true. Okay, so now we kind of know what to expect and stuff. Now, as an applicant, what things do I need to bring with me to the day of the test?
Okay, so to the day of the test, you're going to need to bring your driver's permit.
Yep.
If you're under the age of 18, you're going to need to bring that certificate that we issue.
That's right.
To you after your 6 hours.
Yep.
And then also on your permit, you have to make sure that it's signed both by your instructor and by your parent to confirm that you've done the 50 hours of driving practice.
Absolutely.
Not just that, you have to bring the permit and insurance and registration for the vehicle that you arrived in.
That's right. And make sure it's valid. It's got to be valid.
Valid. They don't take, even if the insurance number is the same, the policy number is the same.
Right.
If the date is out, they can check on their system and see that it's current. But they need that card. And if you have it on your phone, they do accept that.
That's acceptable.
But if you can bring it printed out for them, it's way better. The easier you make it for them, the easier they're going to make it for you.
I think preparation for the DMV is absolutely critical, and that was definitely a topic as well that I wanted to just kind of touch on. Bring everything.
Yes.
Go through, check the website, make sure that you have all the right stuff, but make sure you bring the printed copies of that for sure, and then also the registration card. Sometimes you get your new stuff and it just doesn't make it into the glove box, and even though like you said, the DMV issues the registration, they're going to charge you a fee, in best case scenario, or they'll just reject it and tell you to go get it, whatever. So definitely be prepared, and in terms of the DMV, that they're not going to be necessarily on your side. Is that a fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one little secret thing that you don't really think about as a parent or as someone taking someone to the test, they're going to ask for your driver's license.
Yes, thank you for reminding that. So there was a period of time during COVID that was a little bit, they were less strict in terms of the driver that you brought, because they were bringing the applicant in totally by themselves, even if it was a minor without their parent, just as to minimize the amount of traffic in the DMV. So some of those rules kind of relaxed, but now they're definitely back and they're strong. If you, as the the accompanying driver, don't have your valid license in possession, your student may not be able to go.
Yeah, they are very strict about that because they don't want people driving to the DMV themselves for their test.
Absolutely not. Okay, now let's say we're getting ready for the test. Can I get out there and follow a DMV examiner with another student? Say my test is next week. Can me and a parent go out there and just kind of follow behind, just so I learn the route? Is that a good idea?
Oh, not if you want to pass. Yeah, because they remember.
Yeah.
If you follow, I've been with students where we're practicing our test.
Yeah.
And you can see what's happening. Like preparing for their test and seeing people on their test.
Yes.
Because some of the roads, counter, and you see parents and students trying to get like any kind of information they can to prepare their student.
Sure.
Because what parent wouldn't want to prepare their student?
Of course.
But when you're following someone on the test, I've had a student on their test tell me that the instructor stopped the car during their straight line backing part.
Yeah.
Got out because the parent parked behind them.
Right.
And said, "What are you doing?" and took a picture of their car.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and as a driving school, we're prohibited from teaching the routes or being on the routes or anything like that, which is not something that I would want to do even if we were allowed specifically. But what about in the evening time, weekends? Is it okay then? Not necessarily obviously if it's evening and they're closed or the weekend, there's not going to be anybody out there doing the exam. But can I go drive in the neighborhood like with my parent? Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things. You can go in that area definitely.
Yeah.
And practice. But as far as memorizing a route,
yeah,
I would avoid that at all costs.
I would as well.
Yeah, there are some schools that will do that illegally,
right,
and practice that route,
right,
and the students memorize it.
Yeah.
We actually had one, a student reach out to us actually and say they failed their test because they were practicing the route,
right,
and the tester
took a different route.
Yeah, took a different route,
yeah,
and the student continued on the route they had practiced.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's exposing yourself.
Yeah, and the failed test said ignored instructions.
Wow.
Yeah, which is the first time I've ever seen that.
I've never seen that one either.
Yeah, but the mom was pretty oh, we need more practice.
Sure.
He went on the route, and and it's
yeah,
man. The route is not the route.
Right.
They choose the route per lesson.
Yeah, they have at least 2 or 3 variable ways that they do that, and also, I mean, I as a driving school, we definitely find it very.
Counterintuitive.
It's counterintuitive, and it really doesn't help prepare the student. That student can drive that route perfectly, right? I mean, obviously, without even thinking about it, they're just driving. But then what happens when they have to go to the grocery store that's not on the route, or to school, or heaven forbid get on the freeway, or some type of driving situation that they didn't have on the route is now going to be completely foreign, and they're going to be completely unprepared.
It's like getting all your driving practice at Disney's Autopia.
Right.
Yeah.
You got the training wheels on.
Yeah, you got the training wheels on. And it's what's going to be on the test, but they can change up the test and then say it's afternoon,
yeah,
and there's not heavy traffic, and their test is at 10 o'clock in the morning,
yeah,
and it's there's Amazon delivery truck,
right,
and they've never seen that before.
Right.
So they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
That's why it's our job as instructors to show them as many different things as we can.
That's right.
So that they're prepared, because the first time you see something shouldn't be the time that you're on your own.
Oh man, that's scary. So what about the car? Does the DMV provide a car? That's a question that I get asked a lot. Or what car do I need to take? Or how does all that work?
Okay, so the DMV does not provide vehicles for you to take the test.
No, they don't.
You have to bring your own registered and insured vehicle,
Yes.
and it has to be current.
Yep.
And it has to pass their standards.
Right.
So like there can be no cracks in the windshield.
That's right. I think they give you like a tiny chip, right? Nothing over 4 inches.
Yeah, nothing over 4 inches.
Okay.
Which, you know, if there's a chip more than 4 inches, that's
a big crack.
Yeah, that's a big crack, and
Yeah.
you can actually get a ticket for that. But.
Right, definitely.
But then also you have the tires have to be in good condition.
Yep, no bald spots.
Yeah, no bald spots, no chunks of rubber missing out.
Yep.
And then also the windshield wipers have to work.
Yep.
The headlights have to work.
Yep.
High beams have to work.
Yep.
Horn has to work.
Yes, sir.
And your tail lights.
Yep. And the driver's side window.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I
driver's
learned that
side.
one the hard way.
Yeah, the driver's side window has to work, and the doors have to open from the inside as well.
Yes. And then of course seat belts and all the basic safety stuff.
Exactly. Emergency flashers.
Right.
Front and rear defrost,
Yes.
emergency brake.
Yes,
all that stuff has to be in good working condition, and it can have no warning lights
Right.
on the dash.
Right. I think what is it? Maintenance, needed. Or what is the one that
Maintenance needed.
Yeah.
If you can clear it out.
Right. If you can clear it out, but definitely check engine light is an absolute no-no.
Mhm.
The oil, that light comes
Tire
on.
pressure light.
Any of those lights come on, and your vehicle is going to be considered unsafe.
Yes, and they will not do the test. And unless you can get another registered vehicle there within 5 minutes.
Well, let me ask you this. What if my neighbor my car's a little bit beat up, or I have a crack in the windshield, anything like that, and my neighbor's got a car? Can I borrow the neighbor's car?
If the neighbor has the car that's registered and insured,
Yes.
and it's in good condition,
So it meets all the qualifications.
meets all the qualifications, you can use that vehicle.
Okay.
Now the neighbor has to give you express permission to use that vehicle.
Right.
But that's something that we offer here.
Right.
So our vehicles are doing this constantly. So we have to have the vehicles all in good working condition.
Yes.
We have the insurance registration on the same piece of paper.
Yes.
Set up. But that's something that we offer in our escort service.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about the escort service. What are some other benefits than obviously having the vehicle that's ready to go, obviously passes all the qualifications? What else is good about that?
Okay, so when you use our escort service, the instructor comes with that car.
Yes.
Yeah, so you are guaranteed the a licensed instructor
Yes.
with you.
Yes.
And it starts an hour before your test.
That's right.
So you get that warm-up period where you get used to the car. So say like you had one lesson with us and you liked the Prius or the Corolla and you really liked it for the test, and
Yeah.
you were like, oh, this is much easier to drive than my minivan or my mom's
Right,
Suburban
for sure,
or something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And I want to feel comfortable taking the test. So you get that warm-up practice right there.
Yeah.
And then the instructor will go over the test again with you.
That's right.
And they're going to actually practice, like the straight line backing and some of the skills that.
Yeah. And this is a secret one for parents. I find that sometimes my presence as a parent around my kids stresses them out a little bit, if we're being honest. And sometimes, in a scenario like that, me being there asking them little questions may just irritate them, and it really kind of takes them out of the right mindset. So me being out of the equation and having a professional who's completely on their side, who's definitely not going to ask them about chores and tests and whatever else, is going to be there to sort of professionally walk them through without that parent needing to be there. Plus, I don't need to take time off work or whatever else the case may be. I really think the escort service is a great service, so thank you for bringing that up.
And absolutely, if the parents do want to meet us there at the DMV,
yes,
that is something we definitely do. You can sit in the car with us while waiting for the test.
Right.
You can't go on the hour before.
Right. Nobody can do that part.
Yeah,
right.
Nobody can do that except for the instructor and the student.
Yes.
But waiting for that test, you can come hang out and be ready for them. But, just having that extra instructor, bounce questions off of.
Absolutely.
Anything, it really does prepare the student.
Yeah, no, I think the little tips and tricks right before are extremely helpful to have that fresh in the student's mind. Okay, walk me through the test. What does the actual test look like? So now I've already checked in. I'm sitting in the car. My parents with me or the instructors with me, as the case may be. How does it go? Step one.
Okay, step one is you're waiting in that line.
Yes.
It's the longest Disneyland line.
Yes.
But everyone's in a car.
That's
so
right.
you can have your air conditioning, you're cruising. Follow all the instructions of the testers, because the testers sometimes will tell you to turn the car off.
Right.
Sometimes they'll tell you, like the certain space, they'll tell you to pull forward. Just listen to them. Don't rely on any signs or anything.
Right.
Rely on what
Yes.
the commands they're giving you.
Yes.
The next step is once you're the first place in line and an instructor comes up, they're going to ask for your paperwork.
Yes.
So once you check in, they're going to give you a packet,
Yep.
and it's going to have your testing criteria and everything on there. You hand that over to them. They're going to talk you through the test, and they're going to tell you what's expected, and they're going to do that pre-drive inspection with you.
Yes.
So that's where they're going to walk around the car, make sure that the headlights, all those things are up to snuff.
Yep.
And then after that, they're going to hop in the car. They're going to open the door from the inside, close it again.
Yep. Make sure it's functional.
Yep. And then they're going to, have you sign that the testing sheet.
Yep.
And then after that, they're going to tell you to put it in drive, and that's when the test begins.
When do they technically start grading you?
So technically, during the pre-drive inspection, you can miss a certain amount.
Okay.
I believe it's 5. If you miss 5 on the pre-drive inspection, the test is over.
You just don't even get to start.
Yeah, you don't even get. So if you can't find the windshield wipers, your headlights,
Right.
your front and rear defrost, and your emergency brake,
Right.
and they ask for the horn, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, fool.
So right away, if any of those things don't work, or I don't know how to use them, no exam that day.
Yeah, no exam.
Okay. So then, all right. So then after the pre-drive, we're in the parking lot. We get out of the parking lot. What is it that the examiner is looking for specifically?
Okay, specifically, they're watching everything.
Yes.
And they're watching the comfortability of you with like the vehicle as well.
That's a great word, comfortability.
Yeah. So like once you start to pull out, because most of the test places have a dedicated lane.
Yes.
Like when you're pulling out,
yes,
they're making sure that you're making traffic checks. They're making sure that your hand position, both hands are on the wheel.
Yes.
They're making sure that your seatbelt's on.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
They're making sure that your eyes are moving, your head is moving.
Yes.
Once you get onto the road, they're making sure that you're monitoring your speed, checking your mirrors, doing your traffic checks.
Yes. All the technicalities.
They're watching as closely as you can, and it's I don't want to stress anyone out, but that's the part where you have to be comfortable with the vehicle.
Yeah, no, 100%. To me, it's definitely it's all the details, it's all the little technicalities. And as an instructor, what I try to tell my students is, I share with them extreme situations. I have seen a student fail for going 1 mile per hour over the speed limit. Literally, I have seen a student fail for waiting for a pedestrian. The pedestrian got all the way through the crosswalk, first foot on the curb, but the second foot still in the crosswalk as the student started to go. Automatic fail. I've seen, what was the other one that I pointed out here? The student, I messed up. I had it in my quotes here. But anyway, what I'm trying to share with the student is I want them to, like, when I say 1 mile per hour, I want them to be like, really? Because when I get them to say really, now I know they're listening to me and they understand, like, it's that technical? Yes, it's that technical. 1 mile per hour over the speed limit could fail you. Not coming to that 100% stop, right? You're almost stopped, but then you kind of, even if you look, but you don't dot that final I where you feel the momentum of the car settle back, all those things could be potential automatic fails.
Yes.
Right? And so it's all about the technicalities. What are some other common fails that you see?
Okay, so the common fails that we see as an instructor, like when they come back and you get the thumbs down.
Right.
Yeah, the biggest one is going to be looking over your shoulder.
I agree.
Yeah, that one happens constantly.
Constantly.
That one, and then the bike lane.
Bike lane, same. It's like the same violation.
It's the same violation. Most people, like when they're like, okay, let's make a right turn, and you have to enter through the bike lane. It's like changing a lane, so you have to do the whole smog process over through that bike lane.
That's right.
That's one of those ones that really trips people up.
It trips people up, and there's various situations, right? Sometimes you have the solid bike lane that doesn't break. Sometimes you have a solid bike lane that does have a broken section. Sometimes there's no bike lane at all. And again, that goes back to we stay off the same route.
Yeah.
We want to be able to, a long bike lane, a short broken, all these things. It's all variable.
Yeah, and the other one that I see quite a bit is ending in incorrect lanes and intersections.
Yes, intersections. Boy, oh boy. In general, right?
Just intersections in general.
Yeah.
If they don't get a lot of practice in different looking intersections, then they're going to have a problem on the test.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge for sure. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. One thing. I had a side note as I was thinking about this. For the student taking the test, during the exam, the examiner will have a checklist, and as you're going through, okay, left turn, right turn, and so they're checking and making marks, and so you can't tell if you made a mistake or you didn't make a mistake based on the marks. And if you as the driver start trying to pay attention, and then it starts to get in your head, oh, they're making marks, and you think you're failing, it's going to spiral and you're going to be in a bad spot. So you just have to assume that all the marks they're making are good, and that you just keep going and don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
That's a little side note that I added in here for sure.
Yeah, I always tell the students, if they're still letting you drive, you're still taking the test.
There you go.
Yeah, if they really think that you're a danger, they're gonna hop in. They're gonna drive the car back.
Yeah.
So assume you're on the test. I had a student once. She thought she had failed, and she was crying.
Oh my
and
goodness.
the person was like, when they got back, she of course failed after that.
Sure.
But she explained that first one that you made was only a minor point.
Right.
And I could see you deteriorate after that and shut down.
Yes.
And she failed on points. A rare fail on points.
It's a rare fail on points.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it definitely can get in your mind and can really throw you off. Another thing, just to kind of remember, this is a sort of a general mindset I try to teach my students. When we ride sometimes in the car with our parents, I think I still make my mom a little jumpy. And as a passenger, we tend to, like, if something's going on, we get a little tense, and we kind of give them one of these, and that's sort of the demonstration I show the kids. And I said, any situation where your parent might respond with a sort of like jumpy kind of twitch, you probably failed. That means you're probably getting a little bit too close to a vehicle in front of you. You're not slowing down in time for a turn, something like that. Anything that causes their natural reaction. So you really want to keep it smooth and easy. You want the examiner's ride to be nice and calm and no stress, right? That's sort of a mentality that you have to go into the test with.
As our great instructor, Coach Wendell, said, he had a student, he said, is looking for, on the test, looking for an Uber driver trying to get the biggest tip.
That's right.
A perfect, smooth, like limo driver.
That's
you know what I mean?
Keep them comfortable.
Yeah, keep them comfortable.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great tip. Okay, maybe you could talk to me about what is not on the test that's a common misconception.
Okay, so what is not on the test?
Yeah.
This is probably the biggest one. People always are like deathly afraid of this.
Terrified.
Yeah, parallel parking.
Parallel parking.
Yeah, it is not on the
test. What is on the test is similar?
Okay, we have this. They have the straight line backing instead. Okay. It's where they require you to pull over to the curb parallel.
Open curb though.
Yeah,
right?
An open curb. There's no cars. It's a flat long curb like that.
Yes.
They're gonna have you pull up and back up straight for 30 feet.
Easy peasy.
Without hitting the curb.
Right. Or pulling too far.
Too far. You there's a grace period. It's 18 inches from the curb.
Okay.
So usually where that little divider where the gutter and then the blacktop meet, that's about a foot.
Yeah.
So you get about 6 inches on that.
Yeah.
So you want to be kind of on that line.
Yeah. Just keep it nice and straight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about freeway driving?
No, freeway driving is not on the test.
That's another one, right? Like, people are scared to death of having to drive on the freeway for the test.
Now, there are certain tests that require the freeway.
Yeah.
The medical test.
Yes.
And the vision test.
Vision test, that's right. But those are for drivers who have been driving for a while, have experience, so they're a little bit more strict with them.
Yes, exactly. Or you have a restriction where you don't wear glasses, but your eyes are not 20/20.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So that's one of those strange cases which you're probably not going to encounter. But if you do, they will alert you that it's going to be a vision test.
Right. You're very aware at that point.
Yes.
They're letting. Expectations are different. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, they're letting you know.
Okay.
The other things that aren't on the test: no U-turns.
Right.
No 3-point turns.
That's right. Yeah.
And this is another big one. Parking's not graded.
Parking's not graded. Well, kind of. At the very end of the test, right? You sort of need to, but it's usually an easy, straight pull-in shot.
It's usually a straight pull-in. you just can't pull too far forward and hit anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You can be kind of over the line.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
There,
You can be, like they're not going to fail you
It's
for
kind of
being,
some examiner sort of discretion.
Yeah,
in there.
you know, like if you're maybe a foot too far out,
Yeah.
they're not going to be like, oh, you fail on that.
Yeah. But if you pull up and bumped up the blocker,
if you hit the little yellow pull,
right,
that's done.
Auto fail.
Yeah,
Sure. That's a collision.
Yeah, it's an auto fail.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we've pretty much covered everything here. Something else. I'm sorry.
No. We're getting on it right there.
Yes.
The auto fails.
Yes.
And the point system.
How does that work? That's a little bit confusing too.
Yeah. So the auto fails and the point system. So the test is 15 minutes long.
Okay.
It's supposed to be.
Right. Roughly.
Yeah, roughly 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
So, and they offer 15 minor points, minor infractions.
Okay.
And then there's one critical error.
Okay.
One critical error is a test fail.
Okay.
We call those the auto fails.
So describe to me the difference between what's a minor and what's a critical error.
Okay, so a minor is anything that's not perfect driving, and a critical error is anything that would cause an accident or has the potential to cause an accident.
Safety kind of thing.
Yeah, so like not stopping at a stoplight,
right?
You know, like not making a complete stop at a stop sign,
right?
Not looking over your shoulder.
Yes.
An example I give my students right before their test is when you're going to make a lane change. You know, and you say you check your mirrors, you look over your shoulder, it's clear, you make the lane change. But hey, you forgot to turn your signal on.
Okay.
That's a minor.
Minor.
Yeah, and the reason why is you've checked, you've made sure it's clear, and it was clear.
Safety precautions were taken.
Yeah,
you've done that part.
Yeah, but it's not perfect driving because you didn't signal to let other drivers know you were making that lane change.
Correct.
Vice versa, say you turn the signal on, you check the mirror, but you don't look over your shoulder. So you didn't clear your blind spot.
Safety.
Yeah, so that would be an auto fail.
Yeah, that could be an immediate collision right there.
Yeah, because there could be a car, bicyclist, motorcyclist, scooter driver.
Right,
you know, like
you
know those line bikes and scooters and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they can move at the same pace as a vehicle.
Yeah, they move quick.
Yeah, and if they're in that blind spot,
hard to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, sir. I think we've pretty much covered everything. This was, I think, a very informative, really good session.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to continue our, no one got our question right last week.
That's right. Yeah. What was the question again? Is whether or not an electric scooter is considered a vehicle or a pedestrian.
Yep, right? and so that's still running.
We're still running.
Yeah,
we're still waiting for that answer. So,
yeah, so if someone can get that correct.
Yeah, so please comment, put in below, let us know what you think. Is an electric scooter doing about 20 miles an hour? Is that how fast those things go?
Some of them can get up to 25.
So, yeah.
And then the electric mods, they do. I've seen one that can go about 45.
Yeah, I've seen a reel of one on the Bay Bridge.
Yes.
Right? Like, hello, that person was probably not in their right mind, but that thing wasn't...
And matching the speed of traffic.
Going pretty quick,
yeah. And you're like...
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so we'll stick with that question. Is that a vehicle or is that person considered a pedestrian? And it's kind of a gray area, but there is a specific answer to it. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. And remember to go safe.
And go green.